Cable Bahamas has always been considered the innovator.
People can have confidence in Cable Bahamas as a mobile operator because of our past history. We've proven to the Bahamian community that we are in fact able to manage additional services as a telecommunications company.
Customers expect the best from Cable Bahamas.
The technology that we bring is revolutionary technology because we know that the Bahamian public, they deserve it, and Cable Bahamas is here to bring it to them.
We are ready. Turn us on.
Prime Minister Christie claims all Bamsi contractors have insurance. Andrew Rawlings warns government could hand the next election away on a silver platter. Plus, New Providence residents experience another round of power outages. We've got those stories and a whole lot more tonight. I'm Vonique Toot and MB12 starts now. Topping news tonight, Prime Minister Perry Christie says all of the Bamsi contractors have all-risk insurance. He said the opposition should think twice about criticizing government's handling of the Bamsi insurance fiasco, asserting there were problems at the Ministry of Works under the last Ingram administration. Christie and two of the opposition MPs got into a heated argument this morning in Parliament after the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee requested that all contracts surrounding Bamsi be made public. Kyle Joaquin reports.
Things got a bit heated in the House of Assembly today after the chairman of the Public Accounts Committee and St. Anne's MP Hubert Chipman requested that the investigation into the Bamsi fiasco be televised. Prime Minister Perry Christie rose to his feet and said the opposition should be the last ones pointing their finger, as what's now happening in the Ministry of Works happened under the previous F&M government.
The information which has been revealed to date suggests that grave breaches of protocol have occurred, which have resulted in substantial loss of funds to the public purse, and unless addressed, will continue to destroy the nation's faith in the system. Democracy demands that those responsible for Bamsi saga answer to the public and answer in the public hearing.
That when the committee meets, Mr. Speaker, they should request contracts that I could point out to them that they should ask for towards the country being able to understand whether the current Minister of Works is the only minister that has had such a challenge.
Christie says just how the opposition wants the Public Accounts Committee to publicly investigate the Bamsi matter, he hopes they'll welcome what will come out of previous Ministry of Works contracts, suggesting there may have been a few questionable contracts given under Nico Grant as well when he served as Minister of Works. But of course, that didn't go too well with the Central Grand Bahama MP.
Mr. Speaker, just let me say that if during my watch protocol was broken, it is wrong. It is wrong. The point that I wish to make here, that as the member at the time for Lakaya and Minister of Public Works and Transport, I never came in this house, I never came into this house and told an unmitigated untruth about a contract.
You could assume as Prime Minister, I would not stand here and opine unless I felt it was important for me to say so, and therefore having some access to the files that you left in place.
Initially, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Works Philip Brave Davis said the insurance on the burnt mail dorm at Bamsi had lapsed. However, he later revealed that the building was never insured. The Bamsi ordeal has caused many to question whether what happened with the no insurance contract of the mail dorm has been going on for many years at the Ministry of Works. Outside Parliament, opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis said by having this investigation televised, it will set a trend of accountability democracy in the Bahamas, he said, has never seen.
What that would do, it would make individuals become aware that if they were to do anything wrong in the future, they can be subpoenaed in front of national TV and questioned in front of the entire Bahamas. That's what we want. We want complete transparency. That's what Chipman had asked for, and that's what we would do.
Christie said once the PAC gets started, it should be able to trace as far as from when the contract was awarded to see who should be held accountable. And he told reporters that all the other contractors surrounding Bamsi have insurance for their projects.
They are sure that they are sure that other contractors, I am told, they are sure that they have contracts.
No date announced for those Public Accounts Committee hearings. Reporting for NB12, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
For Charlotte MP, Dr. Andre Rollins put the government on blast today, this time over the unresolved CLECO insurance issue. Rollins reminded the PLP government that it was one of their campaign promises to bring resolution to the matter. He said because so many failed promises at this point, Bahamians may want to give a third party a shot at governance.
Are we prepared to deliver the next election on a silver platter to those who have been untried and untested because they have no history of having betrayed the Bahamian people, Mr. Speaker? Because at this point, the Bahamian people are prepared to give anyone a chance who has not had a record of failing to deliver on a promise.
However, Rollins had a challenge getting his point across as House Speaker Dr. Kendall Major shut him down.
Member for Fort Charlotte, take your seat. Member for Fort Charlotte, take your seat. As many. Chair recognizes Honorable Member for Tall Pines. Member for Fort Charlotte, take your seat. You will not speak. You will not speak in this place unless you follow the orders from the chair.
Mr. Speaker, I am. If you can demonstrate the relevance.
The chair has indicated you not to read the letter. Move on to the bills.
Mr. Speaker, this is central to what we are debating.
It may be central to it is central to your debate, but it's not central to the debate on hand. Deal with the series of bills.
Government had promised to honor a $30 million guarantee for CLECO policies after the insurance company closed down. In 2013, State Minister for Finance Michael Halkitis said the government intended to bring a resolution to the CLECO liquidation by the end of that year. However, that has yet to happen. Today, Prime Minister Christie said the matter has not been abandoned, but the funds are just not available.
We believe, Mr. Speaker, that when we come to a certain period in the next few months, that we will be able to speak comprehensively about what we propose to do, Mr. Speaker, by way of assisting those persons who have suffered as a result of CLECO. So to the member who has raised this matter, it has not been abandoned. It is a continuation of the process, and we are looking to an outcome that we hope would be the best outcome that the country could afford.
In other news, as residents in some parts of New Providence experienced another round of power outages today, Prime Minister Christie says government must take steps to prevent a total collapse at the Bahamas Electricity Corporation. Christie also hit back at FNM leader Dr. Hubert Minnis for his idiotic criticisms of BEC and defended Chairman Leslie Miller amid calls for his resignation.
We must move immediately to put into effect, right, efforts to prevent an entire collapse of a grid.
Christie says he is deeply concerned about BEC, which has been the subject of harsh public criticism since last week's massive blackout, which negatively impacted thousands of New Providence residents and business owners. The Prime Minister says BEC has a lot of work to do before the multi-billion-dollar Baha Mar Resort opens its doors, but commended BEC employees for working around the clock to restore power supply.
What I thought came out of this was, however it happened, and even if it was negligence, however it happened, what I found remarkable was the response of the BEC team and being able to get that back up and get people connected very, very effectively in a short period of time. And when you look at what happens during other states in the United States of America, and the time it takes for them to get the grid back up, I think we have to applaud the persons who worked for BEC and how they were able to respond to the crisis.
Opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis blasted government over the BEC meltdown, telling reporters it exposed a crisis in leadership and shows government has no clue how to go about reforming BEC. Christie called Minnis's comments idiotic and challenged him to say it to his face.
I wish he would give me the opportunity to hear him say it in Parliament when I could respond immediately to him. But these sort of backdoor comments about vision, it's not just political rhetoric. bordering on the idiotic at times.
As for government's protracted efforts to restructure the cash-strapped corporation, Christie said recommendations are being made to the government.
The government of the Bahamas will be shortly in a position to receive, they've had an oral submission from me, but to receive the recommendation that I have made as a follow-up to the recommendation of the task force. So, and obviously, I would want to first talk to the trade union representatives, to the management representatives.
President of the Bahamas Electrical Workers Union, Paul Maynard, has said the BEC union will not cooperate in the BEC reform process if BEC Chairman Leslie Miller is not fired. However, Christie says Miller's position does not come before the union president.
Paul Maynard knows the Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas will govern the Commonwealth of the Bahamas in the best interests of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, and that includes who is the chair of BEC. Right? That is not a union moment. That is not a union requirement, right? To participate in who's made chair. That is a government responsibility, and the government has to bear the consequences of its decisions.
Up to 10% of BEC customers in New Providence experienced power outages today after 2 engines at the Clifton Pier plant went down. BEC officials maintain that the loss of the first machine had no impact on customers as there was sufficient generation capacity. It was only when a second machine had to be taken offline to clean a fuel filter that there was a generation shortfall, resulting in a loss of service to less than 10% of customers. Officials say within an hour and a half, BEC crews had cleared the filter, returned the engine to service, and restored supply to most of the affected customers. About 2% of customers were still without power by this afternoon.
What they're doing right now really is refurbishing 2 of the engines out there now, and 2 others are scheduled to be reconditioned. So that's probably what happened. I'm sure it's not for too long, so we should be all right.
BEC Chairman Leslie Miller also stressed today that he never blamed BEC workers for the recent island-wide outage.
I said from the beginning that what took place with that one machine when that situation happened in York Street, when the fuse refused to close, was not the fault of no BEC worker. I made that clear to you. And I said what happened that upset me was the fact that in the trench, where we have several of the major lines running to those engines, there was oil and water in the trench, and when that power went back into the trench, it sparked and it caused a fire. Hence, all of the wires burned up and the whole place shut down. That was my argument, that it could have been prevented. Now, some people get upset with that. I don't know what they want me to do. The tourists who were here in these hotels were upset too. All the Bahamians were upset. So I think all of us had a right to be upset.
Works Minister Philip Davis said yesterday he is satisfied that a fire at BC's Blue Hills plant that triggered the weekend blackout was not the result of negligence by employees. Davis said any intimation to that effect is regrettable and commended BEC workers for their diligent efforts to restore power supply. When NB12 returns, the Labor Minister defends government's NHI plan. Find out more after this break.